maken wel voice voor, dat is makkelijk gezegd toch gedaan. Ik had liever wat zo mensen zouden zijn. We gaan het dan in Engels houden. Er wordt een video van gemaakt, wordt online gezet en de voertaal in de games industry is wel Engels. Dus let's switch a little bit. Let's switch to English. Let me first grab my notes as I have a lot to say and I forget a lot. But Grains of Salt is a collection of advice for the games industry. How to survive, how to build a portfolio, what to learn, what not to learn, what to do, what to know, what not to know. Just all advice I've collected the last couple of years. And by the last couple of years, I do mean the last 15 years of my life, which is a lot. And I'm going to share it with you. And hopefully you'll learn a little. You'll learn a thing or two. I thought Ed would not be nervous as I'm just talking about the most mundane things ever, but... Oh. So, I do must mention, it is a bit biased towards artists. I'm an artist. I've mostly done artsy things in the games industry. So if you're a programmer or a game designer, sorry, but hopefully some of this will still make sense to you. So, who am I? I'm named Host, and I'm a 3D artist. And I'm a 3D artist that specialized as a hard surface specialist. What does that mean? That means that I've been specializing myself in making weapons, but also vehicles or anything else that's man-made and hard surface for within games industry. Which means props, vehicles, as I mentioned, and anything else that your boss says, like, please make this. And the last couple of years, I contributed to over 15 titles. And of course, we're going to start the big ones, the AAA ones. I've worked on Call of Duty Black Ops 6, worked on Battlefield 3, Mindside, Everywhere, Ghost Recon Frontline, cancel before the deal this, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and Ghost Recon Wildlands. Emphasis on contributed, but I worked on more titles. Worked on Booster Combat, Hat Lab, and Crank House VR upgrade. This was during my student time. VR titles, and a racing game, and the last couple of games I've done game both short and either contributed or the cool folks from my career started. I would like to once more emphasize contributed, because working in the games industry does not necessarily mean you work on games. You make things and you contribute that forward to work within the games. Out of all these games, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about half of them I've actually been in the game development cycle, either in pre-production, full production, or after production. Post-launch, there it is. I've worked on post-launch. But it's all awesome, the knowledge and stuff that you'll probably do yourself. Should I elaborate a little bit about these titles? Not. Do you want? Yes, okay. Team Fortress 2 is where I started my career. I was a student. No, I wasn't even a student yet. I was around 15, 16 years old. I was a modder. And I got my first big break by contributing something to the game and added. When I got my first paycheck from Valve, I was like, hey, I can make a career out of this. So I continued on. My game dev career. I started as a baby, as a modder. I know I just mentioned, I made mods, various different games. I started with Team Fortress 2. Then I moved on to Great Eye University, or formerly NHTV, and I became a student. There I learned how to be a visual artist, and I learned using the tool of craft. Probably where all of you are currently at in your career. After that, I went to Force Field, and I became an art teacher. After that, I went to Ubisoft Bucharest, and I became an intermediate environment artist. But that title changed halfway through, and I became the intermediate weapon artist. And technically, my title in Romania was Graficien Compilator, which means he who calculates graphics. To me, is a far better title to talk about myself, like I calculate graphics. But I digress. After that, I moved on from Romania to Bucharest to Scotland, where I worked at Build a Rocket Boy. Build a Rocket Boy was founded by Leslie Benzies, who's an ex-GTA developer, big guy, and he was making his own game. And there I started as a 3D artist. Halfway through my career there, I became a senior 3D artist. And after a while, I was like, you know, this is great and all, but I'm heading out. So I went to War Dog Studios. I'm wearing a t-shirt, rapping War Dog. And there, I became a 3D artist again. What technical title inside the studio? I became junior. Became a junior weapon artist. So, game dev career. Slide, there we go. You think it'd be a linear line, you start at the bottom, you move your way up, you become student, graduate, junior. You become intermediate, you become a senior, you become experienced, you become elite, you go this and that. That's our expectation, right? Reality is this. You start off fine, you keep working your way up, and then you go looking. And I think most likely I might be somewhere out here, or maybe somewhere here. We'll see where tomorrow takes me. Your growth as an artist won't be linear. Don't expect it to be. Don't force it to be linear. Try to ride those waves. If you have to step down and become a junior to work at a better company, a better studio, and learn more, take it. Do it. And the other thing, as an artist, gets very many, and I do mean many, many hats. I've been a pixel artist, I've been a 2D artist, I've been a stylized texture artist, I've been a generalist, I've been a technical artist, I've been a realistic environment artist, I've been a stylized environment artist, I have been a weapons artist, I've been a stylized prop artist, I've been a realistic prop artist, I have been a manager, a art lead, I've been the guy that makes all the documentation, I have been a technical artist, and I've been a weapons artist. Your growth as an artist, your growth, your path as a career, won't be linear. Don't expect it to be, don't force it to be. And am I supposed to be the word behind it? Art style. Same for the art style. If you expect to do constantly only realistic art, or only stylized art, only 2D art, don't try to limit yourself. If the opportunity arises at a studio, and it will, take those opportunities. But enough about me, as I am here to give advice on the games industry and how to survive, and advice I've picked up. You've seen my career, how we've done all kinds of loop-de-loops, done all over the place. If I'm going to give you advice, we need to start with the basics. Learn to adult. Advice your dad can give you, advice anybody will give you on 3 foot. It's advice that I see often overlooked in the games industry, as people just don't know how to learn to dodge. As wash your pits, as funny as this sounds, if you're sitting in a studio and HR all of a sudden sends an email about a body odor in the office, and you slowly see everybody rise from their desk, they'll look at this one guy in the corner of the office. It's funny, but it's not funny for that one guy. Please. Just hygiene and such. It's weird how this needs to be mentioned. And the next one, know how to feed yourself. Meal prepping. Great to easy burn it, because this is an awesome diet right now. Within a couple of years from now, this is another good diet. There we go. This is great right now, but in a couple of years, when you evolve from slightly adult to a bit more adult, your body will break down, and this is not that healthy, not that great. I know a couple of artists that have been doing this for like 10 years. You're somehow still alive. If it works for you, great, but please, know how to feed yourself. Learn how to meal prep, make a good meal, make a good spaghetti, how to make a good lasagna. Everybody loves lasagna. Come to work with, I made banana, but you'll make friends with everybody. Trust me, I've done that a couple of times. Everybody loves my banana. I laugh because it gets you to sleep. It's, I mean, you laugh, but quite a lot of people just grind themselves to such a pace, not sleeping, not washing themselves, not feeding themselves, and by God, get some sleep. That you have the most sunken in eyes, black eyes in your alveolar. That you have that, it's not an achievement, it's not something to be proud of. It's great for maybe that first year, that second year, or while you're a student, but you will regret it. Because the big advice that I've gotten and that I still ignore, it's the one from my dad, is you work so that you can live. You go in this industry with so much passion, but you do this work so you can make a living. You know about the life, you can buy a pretty things that you can't afford. You don't live to work. Keep that in mind, because you probably have so many other speakers, talkers, intimately people come to you and tell all these horror stories about crunch and how awful it is. Yes, but quite a few, if not the majority of it, really boils down to that people don't really know how to adult. We're all students, we're all young, we're all stupid, we all want to make gains because it's our passion and we love it and it's awesome. But you should not suffer for it. Physical. Don't do that. So, let's move on from the obvious, taking care of yourself, to building suspense right now. To the next part is very simple advice. Be kind. Not that hard with an advice because the games industry is small. Everybody knows John. I still walk or stumble into people that I've met 10 years ago, people that I've worked with 10 years ago, or people that I've worked in with like a couple of years ago, and I still just find it in those random places and we hit it up immediately. But if you're a dick, it's remembered. Probably some of you already know if I start talking about this guy, that guy said some mean shit on the internet and everybody knows him for him. Well, yeah, that happens. We all know that, but in the games industry, that stuff is amplified. If you're looking for a job and you left a previous company because you were being unkind, then your new employer will also know that, and we'll take that into account. And we'll probably put you at the bottom of the list. So you have to look to the person that will hire you, and the next person. You'll eventually find a person that will hire you that either doesn't know this or is welcome with you being the boss, and those are the best places to work. So, everybody has imposter syndrome. Everybody around you is insecure, doesn't know what they're doing. By God, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm saying now. It's weird. Everybody around you is imposter syndrome. Keep that in mind. Be kind. Giving criticism and feedback and advice is good at all, but you don't insist to take about it. Very simple. And lastly, good advice that I've gotten that I've ignored way too many times when I just started out at my very early in my career is don't be a stranger. You are going to meet so many people that are talented, kind, helpful, and most colleagues you meet could be great friends. Stay in touch, even if it's only like a hi once in a year. Because I've said, the games industry is such a small place. If you stay in touch with those weird people, those connections will pay off you. As third time I'll say it, the games industry is small. Nepotism, unfortunately, is alive. So if you know someone within a studio will give you a job and they're like, hey, we're looking for someone, you're going to be the first in line. Not really the best advice to give, but it's the reality. Abuse that. And the majority of artists are all neurodivergent. You know, if you forget someone existing for a couple of months, you say hi again, and it's fine. Yes. So, this general advice. Know your data. You are going to create a lot of data. Be precious about that data. Currently, I don't know, like in my student years, I created hundreds of gigabytes of data, and I lost like half of it because I did not organize my data whatsoever. I did not back up my data. A week ago, one of my hard drives died, and that hard drive was a terabyte and had all my work from the past 5 years. I did have a backup for it, but I lost the data still. That hurts. You do not want to lose your data. Organize that data, preserve your data, back up your data. It's very simple advice. Data, 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 data. I'm not gonna lecture you about privacy data or whatever. Let's do your own thing, but have a floppy disk nearby that has your favorite art on it. If you see a meme you like, preserve that data. If you see a font you like, organize it, download it. Don't expect things that you see online as resources to be there a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. All the advice, all the cool stuff that inspired me on Tumblr or whatever, I never backed that up because it was in my Tumblr line, it was in our lead blocks, it was on my Twitter lines or whatever. Well, Twitter's a hellhole, as we all know. That data there won't last forever. Grab what you see, put it somewhere, physical place, make it scrappy. Because something that will inspire you right now might be the key detail reference you need 5 years from now. So, organize your data, back up your data, preserve your data. So, we're gonna move on to a next thing that's very important in the games industry that's often also just overlooked as students, especially students that are really, really hard time with, and juniors and graduate departments. Simply being tidy. Please, be mindful of the mess you make. We just talked about all the data that you make. Does this look familiar to someone? Does anybody have this on like their desktop? Only one person, okay. All of these, I know it's all. Please, be mindful of the mess you make. When you're working within a studio, because everything you do within game development is collaborative, everything you do will be seen by someone else. So be mindful of that mess you make. If you're gonna put all your files online on Perforce or Git or whatever repository all you do, make sure that you follow the guidelines that are given to you, the naming convention, name things, clean up things as you go. Because the left is fine on their own machine, but you don't want to upload that. Now, I'm not going to say you need to be a neat freak and every single layer within the PSD needs to be named. Just throw everything in folders, all your color fields in the color field folder, or your patterns and whatever it is. Be tiny, bro. If someone opens up the work 5 years from now, they need to immediately know what they're doing and start. Because a horror story of mine, good part, and presentation, is Ubisoft. I had to work on the old weapon. I had to polish it up for post-launch. I had to make a new skin for it. So I had to dig in the archives, find the old files, and update that. The textures for a weapon were all in the PSD. We didn't use PSDs and Photoshop files for about 3 years because we all moved to something there. So I had to open up an old PSD. When I opened that up, there were hundreds, and I mean hundreds of layers, all completely unnamed. Half of them were off, half of them were on, and the funny thing was, when you make a new layer, it says layer 1, layer 2, right? It was in French, it was in Romanian, it was in Cyrillic, and it was in English. Try making sense of a file that has been handed down to 3 different studios, 4 different studios, or 4 different libraries. Everyone made their edits and they just did not name anything. Try to clean up that mess. Try to continue on with your work. You don't want that. You don't want to inflict that with someone else. Be sure that if you finish up something, be sure that you, 5 years from now, without knowing what you ever did on that project, you can immediately start again and continue. Simple advice. But so many people don't do this. And this is one of the reasons that cost us millions of just time and money in the games industry. Because every time something new needs to happen, we need to look at old shit. The old shit is a mess. And nobody wants to work with the old shit. Because cleaning this up is going to take more time and effort than starting over. And starting over is just a waste of time and money. Another thing that happens a lot in the games industry is that you get told the following. X is industry standard. Blender, Maya, Autodesk, does that ring a bell? People get told this all the time. Industry standards constantly change. For X is better than Y. If you're currently all using Maya, you should be using Blender. If you're all using Blender, you should be using 3ds Max. If you're all using Blender, ahead myself, you should use the Maya. You should use plasticity right now. Plasticity is the hot thing that will replace everything. But no, we should go back to Modo because better back in the day, good stuff was in there. Oh, you should do your modeling in Substance Painter now because they're going to release modeling tools in Substance Painter. Or you should move to Fusion 360. Or no, you need to move to SketchUp. Or let's just make our things in Lego anyway. Just a little Lego. If you're currently learning something, especially at a university, one package of, let's say, mine, follow that. Don't be stubborn and learn things in Blender. Do it on the side. Because everything you're learning in one package is something you can apply to the given knowledge. Be agnostic. Skills that can be transferred. At my university in HTV, I learned Maya. I had 6 years of experience and knowledge in Maya. I could do whatever you asked of me in Maya. In my first month at Ubisoft, my first real job in AAA, move countries, I had to use 3ds Max. I knew nothing about 3ds Max. I had to learn everything from scratch within that month. But because I knew all the basics, all the fundamentals already in one program, I can move beyond. Be agnostic, and not be agnostic in, there might be computing. Denoting or relating the hardware or software is compatible in many types of platforms or operates it. So JPEG can use a Linux, can be used on your Android phone, can be used on your iPhone or your computer. Same with the files and the work that you make. Make sure that you are agnostic. Learn skills that can be applied anywhere. So, talking about skill sets. What skill sets should you even know and need? Building space. Your hard skills and your soft skills. Very quick, very short. Those are 2 skill sets you need to know and do every day in the music. Your hard skills is purely your technical knowledge. For artists, your color theory, your shape language, your how to optimize, how to do your normals, how to do your normal base from high to low, how to make a good high, how to make a good low, how to get to make sure that your smoothing is correct, how to do the proportions, how list goes on. All those technical skills on how to use your program, how to work within Blender, how to work within Marvelous and Toolbag, those are your hard skills. The next one is a bit harder to describe, but it's your soft skills. Your soft skills is what you learn at collaborating, by communicating, working here within the university on projects, and how to handle feedback. Because we'll likely touch upon that because quite a few juniors and students don't know how to handle feedback. If someone tells you to start over, don't be stubborn, start over. Of course, ask when someone keep something, someone do that. Like, why would someone asking start over? Well, they probably, if it comes from a good place, they know why, because it will help you to save time and do better. Know and understand how to deal with that feedback, because someone who is easy to work with is better than someone who has the absolute best. Let's say, for example, we have someone whose hard skills is the best. They make the best possible chair props in the world. They are the guy to make chairs. But nobody wants to work with them because they're impossible to work with. They never communicate. They don't have those soft skills. So now we have someone whose hard skills are mid, but they can make a chair. Pretty alright. But they're very easy and kind to work with. They possess good soft skills. They are more likely to be hired than the first guy, because those hard skills, that first one, that can be trained. You can learn that on the job. Every day you're on your job, you're learning how to improve your hard skills. your soft skills, it's not something you're going to be capable of easily improving while you're within the studio because you are focused on doing your work. Right now, here in this environment, as a student, where you can fail, take those chances, fail, and just learn how to not be a dick. Because there are so many dicks. Oh. So, now we've touched upon those skills. What exactly does all of that mean? I've heard so many people, I want to be generalist. I want to know everything. Stop that. Nobody's hiring a generalist anymore. If you go to AAA industry, people are hiring for specific things. Specialize, stand out, be good at one thing. Because if I'm hiring someone to work on my game and I need someone that's good at making chairs, I'm going to be looking for that. I'm not going to be looking for someone that can make good characters, that can also make good trees, that can make good weapons, that can draw beautiful horses. I don't care about that. I need to look for that one specialist. Well, chairs may be a weird example, but I'm a weapons artist, so I get hired to do weapons. Of course, I know how to do the other things as well. I know how to animate. I know how to do environment art. I can texture things for you. I can work as something designer for you. That's all stuff that's guaranteed to be in the package. But you get hired, you get noticed, you get seen for being good in one thing. So I've stolen this from Valve, and we all know Valve, well called, ain't no better than I do. Be T-shaped. Have a broad knowledge base, be a generalist, but be a specialist in one thing. Be T-posing. Intimidate people, your prowess of T-posing. Because I said this before, I wore many hats. I've been a pixel artist, I've been a 2D artist, I've been a texture artist, I've done stylized, I've done realism, I've done weapons. All of those things will serve you, but I got noticed and I got hired for each job because I excelled and I was good at one thing. Stop trying to be generalist anyway. This might be good advice if you want to be an indie developer or you want to make it on the phone, because you need to know everything anyway. If you are looking to go out there and get a job, you get noticed or do what they well. And that's also where your passion should lie. So, building a portfolio. Move on. Keep it simple. If you're an artist, just use ArtStation. I have seen so many students completely trip up and fail, even junior artists, when they come like, I made my own website. I made my own portfolio, and you hand that to someone and they cannot find anything once they know navigate it, it's not worth their time. Especially nowadays with everyone's attention span being that one TikTok video. If someone doesn't know how to navigate someone, they're not interested in you. If you need to sell yourself quickly, just use what's already out there. ArtStation is good. It's being helpful, it's being useful. Just use what's out there. Don't reinvent the wheel. Focus on the strengths. You've been hammering on about this for a little while now. Let your work speak for you. Just do the things that you're good at. Don't show all kinds of things that are not specific. If you are looking to be hired at, let's say, Arcane Studios, because you love their art portrait for, okay, Dishonored. You want to be an artist there. Don't be knocking on the door with your stylized Blizzard-style characters. It's not relevant. Focus on your strengths and make sure that what you do is relevant for where you're going to be applying. Narrow it down. Don't be a jack of all trades and a master of none. Because, emphasizing this once more, people don't get hired for being good at everything. They get hired to do one thing and do one thing well. And as soon as you are in there and doing that thing well, you'll be able to do plenty of other things as well. Also, student work and tutorials. Don't put that in your portfolio. Everybody can put a portfolio. Everybody can go through a tutorial. I've seen so many people apply for a job with the exact same chamfer zone AK. Cool. What does that say about you? What does that say specifically about your skills? So you can follow the tutorial and you know exactly what to do when somebody else tells you. Oh, that's great, but that's not going to help you within the studio. Because you're going to be on your own. Someone is going to slide you a very crappy piece of concept art. You need to figure it out on your own how to make that. There won't be a guy guiding you through a tutorial telling you exactly what I want to do. Same with fan art. Fan art, don't want to discredit it. Fan art is great, you should be doing it. But if you put it in your portfolio, don't put a big logo of League of Legends and then slide in the corner fan art. Don't mislead people. This happens all too often as well, where I see students come up, look at my portfolio, League of Legends, Doom, Call of Duty. I'm like, cool, but did you work on those? No. They did not work on that. So if you did not work on it, don't feed me a portfolio like you did. Just either put no logo on it or just put on fan art. Don't mislead people. So, about all those things you should and shouldn't be doing, let's just look at some art. This is the most beautiful piece of cardboard ever. Because you don't have to make something big and complicated to stand out. Pick one thing and do it really well. As we touch up on one from before, a guy at Ubisoft got hired for doing garbage. He made a couple of garbage things for his portfolio, and he got a job at Ubisoft working on divisions, and he worked on garbage for 2 years straight. Known as the Ubisoft garbage guy. He did not hate his job. He actually really loved it. He just really good at one thing he did. And you know, with garbage, if you had in front of you right now, it's a piece of this craft you can see lighting for. Can be the most interesting and the most exciting thing to keep in mind to. You don't need to have the wildest things in your portfolio. Pick one thing, keep your scope small, and focus on executing it well. If you execute something well, you can make anything look interesting and exciting and get a beautiful piece of cardboard. Nothing. So moving on. Moving for a folder. Yeah. Here's from other people as well. Connections. I've talked about this before. Don't be a stranger. Look, everything you do within the games industry is about collaborating. It's about sharing art. It's all about the passionate enthusiasm. So if you see, but before you go out, ask me for my LinkedIn QR code and scan it. Just connect with people. All the people around you, if you're currently going through with your study, said this before, don't be a stranger. Connect with them. As that connections can also lead outward to peers, to getting feedback, to learning more. Because that's the second thing you should really work on after you make a piece of cardboard, is to get feedback. You will not learn and grow in a vacuum. Have someone look at your work, tell you like this, and that doesn't work, start over, do it better. That will help you a whole lot more than sitting by yourself. Obvious advice, so many people don't do that. I've met so many artists where I'm like talking to like, oh, this looks cool. Why didn't you do this, Y, and Z? Or what is your thought process behind this? And they cannot tell me because they never really thought about that. They never got feedback. Your eyes, doesn't matter how good you are, doesn't matter how good I am, you will, and I will miss this. Always get feedback, always get a second opinion. Even if you're in the office and working, always get some feedback. Just ask the guy that's sitting next to you, hey, got that piece of cardboard. Is this the good red or the bad red? I help you. Well, lastly, if we're all panicking right now, like, oh, I need to work on my portfolio right now, I need to redo everything. Oh God, Nick, everything you said to me is like, oh God. It's fine. Use your time. As we're all panicking constantly. And the best time to start anything was, of course, yesterday. So second best time is to start today. If you're afraid of not being good enough, or if you mess up, have any other doubts, don't. Said this before, everybody is also saying that. Just keep your head down and work. The time will pass by anyway. You can either sit by and do nothing and the time will pass, or you can just do some work and the same amount of time will pass. Of course, you know, poising your hand and say that progress takes time. You don't have time. Try to drown those voices out. You have the time. Chill. And take your health into. Then, if there's one piece of advice that you take away from my entire presentation, please take away the following advice. Be slow. Be thorough. You won't be hired for speed. Any of you, if you're being fast because you pride yourself that I am fast, that you're fast, don't. Do things slow and steady, or do it twice. Because slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Well, it's advice I got at War Dogs videos. The amount of times where I have walked up or in other studios where I was like, okay, this is deadline, we need to get it now, out of the door, now. But halfway through in my haste, I forget this option, I forget to do that. You make so many mistakes when you're rushing things. Do it slow and thorough, or you'll be doing it twice. And this is also a thing that's a huge issue in the games industry. We're all crunching, we're all tired, we're working ourselves in that grind set and working ourselves into a pace. It's the same thing to be done fast. If you just work slow from the beginning, you would have been faster at the end than you would have been rushing through it and fixing all your mistakes along the way. Obvious advice. Nobody listens to it. Even I didn't. Still can't go, but the second point. We learn along the way. Let me see. Because I've had students approach me and they were like, okay, I got the next 3 months off of vacation and I need to get my portfolio right. Should I be working those 3 months to make 10 portfolio pieces? And I had a recruiter tell him, yes. No. Use those 3 months to make one portfolio piece. Make that good. Make that one piece of cardboard, because people will notice that one piece of cardboard over 10 guns, over 10 vehicles, over 10 airplanes, 10 characters. You will stand out by doing one thing really well. Show off if you're good at by doing one thing really well, taking their titles. You're currently panicking about, okay, what should I do for a portfolio? I will just take one thing you're passionate about, it could be fun to do your get to it. That advice, what I said earlier, it's, I picked up at War Dogs videos, as they also did a similar presentation to this, where they had a bunch of recruiters make a presentation for them, and it's basically all the advice those recruiters give. It's just like all the advice that Andrew would be funding. So, awesome. Good stuff. So, grains of salt. Let's get back all the way to the beginning. I've got 20 minutes left, and I want to give plenty of time for all of you to ask questions. So, everybody tell me it's on the screen. Anybody want to answer? Sugar cubes? Wrong. Anybody else? Salt cubes. Wrong. Anybody else?
Yes.
Wrong.
It's talking me.
Wrong.
No.
Salt.
Ah, y'all wrong. Wrong.
Figure point hole on salt pile and salt bag.
No, that's wrong.
Grains of salt? Take the presentation here a minute so.
It does say that. Huh? No, that's wrong.
It's a picture.
Look, in the games industry, you will have a lot of people like me that will stand in front of you, do a big presentation, tell you all kinds of goons and spots and kinds of things like fair to use Blender because Blender is great. It is. There's plenty of other game advice out there, and it won't always be applicable to you. Everything I've said so far, take it with a grain of salt. I might be thinking I'm the hottest shit and I've done everything and I've gone through the games industry, but my experience and my career might be completely different from yours. So take what you can, take what you need, take what you find 8%, take it with a grain of salt, and apply it to your own. Ask your own questions. Because always observe. The artist's greatest skill is their observation. Looking at what you see, applying it by understanding it. The programmer or designer, it's the exact same thing. Look, observe, where's this advice coming from? Like, not all feedback comes from places of support. Sometimes there's someone standing in front of you that is giving you just deliberately malicious advice. So, understand and try to observe where's that advice coming from. Does it make sense? If someone is giving you advice about art, that their portfolio has the most atrocious art ever, this advice of art that doesn't make sense to what you're doing, maybe take a little bit more and a couple of grains of salt. Understand what happened. Make up your own mind. Pick your own battles. Because my battles won't be the same as those guys. And like all games industry, you will be having a lot of battles. Managers that will say, okay, we need to make our main character have a red scarf while his entire deal is already red. Sure, go ahead and do that. But then as soon as you make it red, the same manager is like, why would you do that? It needed to be blue. You're gonna have so many of those battles where people are just walking against you. Make up for yourself. It's a board fighting right now. So to recap my entire presentation, because already 40 minutes have passed. It's very handy that the timer's over there. Whoa, it's evil. Take care of yourself. Work on your fundamentals. Your fundamentals is literally everything that will carry you through everything. You don't need to be the best at everything. Hell, I bumbled through my university. 4-year study, I did 6 of those. Highest grades? No. But those fundamentals, those basic skills, those hard skills, that's what carried me through and made me go through all these great places, where those great places could build upon me and help me grow. I could learn more. And so understand. Simple guys. Lastly, some advice from my late grandfather. There are no stupid questions. If you have a question, it doesn't matter what it is. You want to learn something, you want to know something. If you want to learn something, you need clarification. That's the smartest thing you can do. Asking questions. It's never stupid, it's always smart. But there are bad questions. Asking me like, oh Nick, how do I make a good portfolio? I say, you put pretty pictures on there. Oh Nick, how do I get good? You work. Oh Nick, how do I get a job in the games industry? You apply. Ask smart questions. Think about your questions. Like, there really are those stupid questions. You can ask me anything, but the question you put in will determine the question you have. Sorry, the answer you got. As be specific, be precise. If you want to know how to get better at art, then make a specific question like, okay, what exactly do you want to get better at with art? You want to get better at your design, at your color theory, at your presentation. Ask those questions specifically about that. Then by that, ask away. That's my presentation. Not all at once.
So, since you found your niche in weapon art, or creating weapons and you, at this moment, still as a student, I'm trying to figure out what my niche kind of is. Since I love doing a lot of different things, so right now I'm more of a generalist than anything else, but I'm trying to find that specialty as well. What helped you find it for yourself?
I'm a bad example. Because at my first day at Ubisoft, I had the horror story, well, not this horror story, beautiful story about the garbage guy. I was walking around getting a tour about Ubisoft, what studio they were working on, and I was like, oh my god, I'm going to be the next garbage guy, I'm going to be the next garbage guy. I don't know what I'm going to work on. And then the last part of the tour, they were like, hey Nick, it's the weapon scheme, where are you going to see that? I rolled into it by accident.
Okay.
I found what I loved by accident. I might need to look around a little bit more to still find what I found fun outside of weapons art. But trying to find that, you need to do a lot of things. So if you're saying to me right now, we're already doing a lot of things trying to find what you love, what you will specialize in, you're already on the right path. I can't give you a golden ticket to find that one thing for you, because that's unique to you. Don't be a generalist in like, you want to learn and know everything. But trying to find your specialization where keep hose starts by being wanted. What attracts your attention? What you're passionate about?
Right now, well, I love designing really crazy characters, but I also love doing hard surface 3D models. But it's quite difficult to find exactly what it is yet.
Well, I think what you're saying to me, you already have a direction. Continue to explore your direction, simple as. Stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. Pinch of salt. As finding that niche of what you enjoy and love is hard. But if you're as a student, you're already in an environment where you're exposed to everything, or we could fail. So, the crudest way possible, fuck around and find out.
Sure. Thank you.
Of course.
Do you have any advice on the step between being a student and your first gig? Because internships are already hard.
Yeah.
I know that the first step from going from student to junior artist at some studio, okay, it feels a lot like just throwing application against the wall. And like you said, connections help, but do you have any more advice on that?
Yes and no. I'm both a good and bad example because I was lucky. You do need to be lucky. I wish I could tell you that it's just all hard work. And the great part absolutely is, yeah, you need to be on top of the pile. And being on top of the pile is 90% work, but the 10% is, well, it's just luck. And the only thing you can do is to increase those odds. So work on those fundamentals. Make sure that what you have stands out. I don't think I could impart any wiser words than that, as it is just, it's tough, it's hard. Flinging everything in the ball and see what sticks is a great strategy for some, but I would not recommend it for everybody. Because applying for a bajillion studios and hearing back from studios you kind of didn't want to work at is great if you're desperate, but that might define your career as well, and that will just pigeonhole you further into a direction you don't want to go. Tough question. Something I wish I could give a better answer for, but if you do struggle, hit me up on LinkedIn. I'll try to help. Be sure to scan my QR code, connect. We're going to go over there for next one. Sorry, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, I was wondering, because you have worked at multiple studios, I assume are mostly AAA studios? Because I was thinking you say you give the advice to specialize, and I was wondering if you notice, but I mean, obviously, for smaller studios, you don't need to be as specialized, but of course, like smaller studios like AA, For example, a lot of Dutch studios that are in Gorilla, being a non-specialist is okay for a job like that, right? Because or at least not being the hyper specialized weapons guy or the garbage guy.
Yeah.
Because I imagine those kind of studios don't really need a garbage guy.
Well, Guerrilla is a very unique example because they do need the garbage guy. They had AI working on clouds for how many years to make that capacity to a cloud set. But for an artist, you're in luck because you can still be a generalist, but that generalist role is called an environment artist. And the environment artist role in a company can either mean you are populating the environment with cool props and you're not making any art, or you are making trim sheet for exactly your life.
Yeah. And then I had one follow-up as well, because you said you were in cap art as well.
Yeah.
Which I do as well. But I was wondering if within the tech art world there's would you say that it alone could be your specialty?
Yeah.
Or is that like even narrower where
You can narrow it down, but you technical artists, you are unicorns because there are never enough of you. Same VFX artists. And the first thing is the advice that I said for like artists as well, that's to specialize stand out. If you are a technical artist that you're really good at one thing, not one studio wants you, multiple studios. Because hiring someone to do one specific thing really well, get that one savant that knows everything about it's either degree or cloud systems or as Houdini grass. Those are rare people, but that's like finding a needle in a haystack. So if you're a technical artist, because of course in every single discipline, with how giant the games industry is, how giant companies are, how absurdly long game development cycles can be now, there's always a specialization for a specialization for a specialization.
Yeah.
So you can go that route. Up to you. You in front.
What hindered you the most as an artist? Like, what's your personal biggest struggle or obstacle?
Me.
Yeah.
Me. No, me. I'm dead. Just literally just me. I'm the biggest obstacle throughout my career. Like, oh God, I'm the worst person to get to work. Getting myself in front of the desk and just doing work. No, aside from that, my biggest obstacles in my career, I think, is just trying to change things that are impossible to change. If there are systems in place, Ubisoft, for example, Ubisoft is built upon systems. If you want to change one boolean within the code, the engine of your pipeline or your pool, you need to be asking your lead. Your lead needs to producer. Producer needs to ask another piece producer. That producer needs to ask technical lead artist. Then needs to be asking a technical artist. Then technical artist needs to look into it. And needs to be another producer needs to make a ticket for. Then documentation needs to be made. There needs to be update. There are so many processes involved with how bigger and bigger it's going to change one tiny little thing. It will benefit everybody. Literally just make everybody's life genuinely better. It's just impossible to change. And if you constantly fling yourself to that wall trying to change those systems, no. What I said before, pick your barriers. I think the biggest obstacle that I have is, I guess I just like to myself with walls. This is a very, very bad flaw to have, but sometimes you can fix it. But that makes it all bad. But hope that answers the question. Paying back.
What then you decided to go into this career, and most importantly, what did you decide to stay in it?
Good question. I didn't really like games all that much. Of course, I loved to play games as a mother, as a baby. Pokemon, Game Boy, loved it, and on the computer, like Battlefield, 1942. Then source modding, Counter-Strike, Team Fortress, and that was all great, but my hobby at the time was making art. I really loved art, and it's by sheer accident that is communicating, collaborating, making friends. And it's like, hey, I can apply Orlando to what I love. And that's how I enrolled into it. It's just all pure accident. It's like me, this going up and down. It's just kind of me ping-ponging around with it just by accident. How I ended up there is just like, oh, I got my first ID keyboard super real. Got a paycheck on out, and I was like, instant career out of this. As before I got that paycheck, and before I got that accepted, I didn't actually want to go in the industry. I didn't really know. That's what I wanted, but I fell in love along the way, and I wouldn't want to leave. Even though it can actually chew you to bits, I love my job. I love this games industry. I love doing work. I love making art, and playing games is not something I'm good at or do a lot. I don't type of that. Let's type games. I love making art. I love making things. I love making experiences. It's motivation for everybody will be different. For mine, it's just dumb love and passion for making people smile with my things. Get out there, wrong. Hope that perfect. Does that answer your question? So, person next.
Yeah, I have a question about earlier in your slide that you said be able to take on different stylists. We can stylize the D. You also said narrow it down your portfolio. My portfolio is quite broad. I have stylized stuff and realistic stuff. How would you? What's your advice?
What are you good at?
I guess like grungy environment art.
Okay. What do you like? That's. You're passionate about doing that. Yeah. Oh, performance. Yeah, you don't have to immediately throw everything out. Like, of course, you can leave one or two stylized things on, but if you're applying to a studio that's all about realism, they're gonna look at your stylized thing and shove to the side and then focus on and book it to bed.
Is there a negative side to keeping that in your portfolio? You say that
cheap. Very, very, very simple advice. If it doesn't look good, if it doesn't help you fix shit, then of course it will hinder you. But if that stylized work that you do is something you're proud of, looks good, then it's only a boon. Like when I worked at Build a Rocket Boy, I worked on two different projects. One was fully stylized, one was fully realistic. Every day I was bouncing back and forth between two art styles. I got hired because I was a weapons artist at Ubisoft and I did realism really well. But they saw stylized artwork in my past and on my portfolio. They were like, oh, you use that. You can exploit that. So narrow it down, yes, to where you want to go. And of course, think about what exactly you show. Let it help you also, but in these. So, come to me later on, let's have a look.
Sure.
You've been holding up your arm quite well.
Thanks. I had a question about specialization. It makes sense to specialize on one thing and be really good at it. And like you said, the industry is actually quite small, even internationally when you think about it. How do you avoid specializing yourself into a corner and basically making your job opportunities quite inconsistent and stuff, especially because the industry is so internationalized, and when you see a job application, within a couple of hours there's going to be like 200 people applying to it from all countries, and there's bound to be people who are just better at it, at that one thing that you specialize in. How do you avoid, not getting a job?
How to, well, first of all, you miss all the shots you don't take. And it's for them to figure out if you're a good fit or not for you. So if you are looking at a job application, you see all these requirements, you think to yourself, well, I'm not good enough. Lying. Of course, within reason. But it's for them to figure out if you're the right person or not. And when it comes to hyper specialization, that part of the question, I haven't found or seen anyone that's being so hyper specialized in one niche that they're unhireable. Unless you really go into one weird niche of Rule 34, but even that probably has a practical application somewhere. Oh, that sounds too late. I do think if you simply follow your interests doing something really well that you're excited about, that you want to do, someone will hire you for that. We'll get noticed.
A follow-up on that, does that also mean that some things, some passions that you want to specialize in are actually like better answers than others in terms of like job opportunities? Like some things will just have more demand than other things?
Well, if you want to go that way, then very simple, be a VFX artist or be a technical artist. Like, that's where there will always be someone hiring you. That's where there's always a shortage, but it's something that you find fun to do, it's what you're passionate about, what you want to do.
So you have to keep a balance between your passion, but also keep in mind towards what's actually desired in the industry.
Good question, but it's also one of those questions that it depends. It depends on the year or situation in the games industry. It depends on you. Like that's really something that you need to figure out for yourself whether that counts the answer. Because to be very blunt and very quick about like what you specialize in, become a technical artist. You're always hired a technical artist. There's always someone hired to be a VFX artist because nobody is really doing that. But there's only so many people that actually find that fun and exciting and are really good at that. Don't occasionally force yourself into a job that you don't want to do. You live. Sorry. You work so that you can live. You don't live to work. To make sure that the living part is the more important. Of course, in current economy, a bit hard, but I hope I answered that question as best as I did.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, been for a long time.
You!
So what I've been wondering is, in terms of like how you are in the industry, the industry is the first they always say that April is a date, and the order is, what do you personally do to ensure that your sales cycle is up to date and usable for future build?
Awful question. Really, no, it's a really good question. It's just an awful question for me personally because I've been slacking about it. So, the good thing is, connect with people, seek out gears, look at what they're doing. Look at social media. What are other people doing? Like plasticity is nowadays all the rage for what design first anime. It's a really powerful tool. The people are really cool things you can skill brag here. Beware of that. Screen Kids is be aware of what's happening and ask your public. Still standing still is going backwards. If you're not doing anything, not improving yourself, you're moving back. Everybody else is all moving forward. Hades?
Thank you.
Alright.
Oh, we're unfortunately out of time, but if you still have questions, you can ask me him personally. So I want to thank everybody for coming here and listening to the next story. And I hope to see many of you next year when we will continue with the new lectures. So I want to give later big applause.
Question for me, did any of this make sense? No. Brilliant.